right, so thank you for coming today. This is the Downtown Framingham Community Safety Meeting, and it's very important for us to get together and discuss the myriad issues that we face pertaining to safety. So a lot of people think that pertains to crime, but it also perceives to perceived safety. It pertains to taking care of our most vulnerable residents, to include children, elderly, handicapped or disabled residents as well, and what we can do to serve those populations better. And it also includes creative working with partnerships. So it's not all on the police department, but it also comes back to the residents, the management of apartments, and the business owners, and myself. So my name is Courtney Thraen. I'm director of the Framingham Downtown Renaissance, and we've invited business owners, business managers, those who run properties, and also residents to share their insights and how we can work together to solve some of these issues, or to also enhance the things that are going well downtown. We want to create a very good sense of safety here that's shared throughout Framingham and the Metro West. And so if that may require a campaign of some sort, we can look into doing that as well. So I'm going to kick it off with Dr. Sumbul Naqvi. She owns Atlantis Dental, and we're very happy to have her here today.
Well, hi everyone, I'm Sumbul, and I own Atlantis Dental, which is across the street. I've been there about 10 years, and honestly, I feel Framingham downtown is a very safe area. We've been there 10 years, and we've had 2 minor thefts, like real minor thefts, in the office. One of them was targeted towards an employee because her boyfriend was mad at her and he came in to steal her purse, so that doesn't even count. So I've been in my office like sometimes midnight because I forgot my laptop there, and never felt the need for an escort, right? So I feel that this is a very safe community to be in and to walk around in, and like I said, I've never had any problems. So that's my reality on downtown. I've been here 10 years and my car has never been broken into. I've left it unlocked sometimes. So it's always been fine. And my office has never been really broken into. So, that's my reality on it. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I would love to hear their opinions.
Can I, all right, so I think I'm a facilitator because I'm on the board. My name is Ian Barrett. I work with Courtney on the FDR. We're changing our name, that's why you guys don't know about that. We're not going to be Renaissance anymore. But we're figuring it out. I think it's important to make sure that we identify the problems and then sort of find out what the solutions can be. And I also think it's really important for everybody that's in this room to know each other and build a community around it. This is our number one thing. The more we all communicate with each other, the more we know each other. We walk by each other on the streets and, oh, I recognize you, I recognize you. Our chances to exchange information and talk to each other, grow massively. Techniques for how does it work at your office? Oh, I haven't tried that. Or like, oh, that's interesting. We have to figure out triage. What's the problem? What's the priority? And what are the solutions? And that's what we're here to figure out. So if I could just ask you a question, what are the problems you see, and is there anything that you're doing to solve them right now?
Well, one of the problems that I have is that people dump trash on my dumpster in the back.
Sure. Which is a big deal. It's a big deal. What's it cost? What's a monthly dump for you? Like $200, $400 for your dumpster? Like
$200.
$200.
That's recycling as well as regular trash. Okay. And I don't think it's the other local business owners because they have their own dumpsters. It's the residents.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're throwing trash. I mean, Framingham has a trash disposal facility. I know that.
Some of the buildings actually have private trash, and you have to pay extra for it. So, so that would be a problem. Yeah.
So it happens overnight. Like I could be here. Like sometimes I'm in the office till 8 or 9 p.m. at night, and it's totally clean outside, and we come back the next morning and there's trash on my dumpster. Right, and it's been it's not the other business owners because we send letters out and it's not them.
Are there any cameras around the room?
I have a camera inside, but it doesn't show the trash area, so we may have to install one.
Do you know if any of your neighbors might have a camera?
No, they don't.
They don't.
So speaking of cameras, you're making a great point. For $100, you can buy a remote camera that you can mount. You can stick it in your own window, and they shoot infrared. I think that what I'd like to do with Courtney is make a recommendation of some of the different brands that are out there. We use ringing cameras at our office, which record the doorbells and stuff.
That's great.
But even a GoPro with a battery in it, taking pictures, can do it. You might want a larger battery for it, but there's other products that are out there. So I think what I'd like to do is present some options that are low cost, because as I said, if it costs $200 to dump it and it gets, you have problems with it, I can get you a camera for $200 that will record it night vision and high definition. So, all right, so it's worth 1 month's dumpster fee. Plus, a small crime, the triage of it is small crime leads to, or
Bigger
I don't even want
crimes.
to say crime. Let's say small incidents. I don't want to say it's crime because I'm making like this issue. You're saying it is a safe town, but the idea is to identify the little problems because they actually grow and grow and grow until then something becomes larger. So identifying what the little problems are and solving them means that we're actually reducing the overall issues up at the top. So absolutely, we should make some recommendations.
And none of those crimes have happened recently.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
are like 5 years ago, and
Okay.
since then nothing. And we're lucky we're so close to the police department. Every time I've called them, they've come running. Like they're there in 2 minutes.
Right.
Right, so they've been very helpful, and anytime you
that's-
have a problem, so that they're just awesome.
We're very fortunate that we have that go-to. So, anything else that you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you all for doing this, and people are coming, and for those who will be watching the video. I'm Christopher Lorant, lived in Framingham for 15 years, in the area for much longer than that, since '85, so I'm very familiar with all of Framingham. I'm not running for office, but what really concerns me is accessibility. Framingham is not accessible right now. There's virtually no handicapped street parking in Framingham. I've been in discussions with officials and been told that it's up to the businesses to take care of their own, but right here, we're in the heart of downtown Framingham, and you look around, I mean, yeah, there's a municipal lot. We're fortunate here at Sofa Cafe. There's a nice little parking lot in the back with an accessible ramp and handicap parking. But a lot of businesses don't have that opportunity because they rely on street parking. So now meters are about to go in, so I've already been in touch with officials. Hopefully they can designate a few meters for handicap parking like they do in downtown Natick, for example. On Howard Street, where the DTA offices, they nicely have an accommodation because their parking lot is in the back, so they can accommodate people who need that and to get them on the list for accessibility. But for like smart behavioral health, if you walk out their back door, which I did once, there's another building right behind it, so you can't travel through that building to their parking lot. The walkway ends up in the back of the DTA office. So we need at least 1 or 2 handicap spots on Howard Street and a curb cut. So people can have accessibility to buildings like that. And when the work is done, it's got to be complete. This is ridiculous. In Precinct 11, there are sidewalks that end up on the grass before it gets to the end of the street. Is that a sidewalk? It's a dead end.
Yeah.
It's
Okay. So
ridiculous.
let's be actionable about it because obviously just saying it. So is there a way you could help by making a list of the ones that you're aware of? And is there a community of friends that you have that would be willing to add hotspots to that list and then present that in an email to Courtney? Is that something you could do?
Sure.
Okay. Could you connect after this meeting and then do that? And I would honestly, if there's other, I don't know if you guys are in a community or you talk about accessibility, if you're accessibility community here, obviously we're aware of the things that we have to do with downtown. Is the new cuts that are there are DOT regulated, but obviously this is an old town. I mean, a lot of these things are 70 years old and things slide under the cracks, and the only way they get fixed is when we know about them. So, and the fact that most of us are able-bodied, it's one of the things that we pass by. So if you could make a list to start with and prioritize a little bit, I think that would be a good start. And I especially down in the industrial area here because you got Jack's, and you've got other businesses that are happening right there, that's a good place to start to make sure that that's compliant, because that was an industrial, they didn't care a long time ago, and now they should, because it's about people getting around in that area. So, yeah, fair?
Cool. Thank you.
All right, awesome, thanks. Who's next?
Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
Phil, all right.
Before we go too much further, is it possible for us to find out who, with whom we're sitting?
Sure, I mean, if you want to do a quick, if you want to do this, if you want, would you
are?
like to do a quick introduction all the way around?
We
Let's
can
do
do
that.
that when we
Let's
go
do
online, right?
Yeah, let's just, what's your name?
I didn't mean to bring this up.
You brought it, go ahead.
I'm Ray Marchand. I am chair of Precinct 14 Town Meeting Delegation. You're in Precinct 14. We went from Howard Street up to the border. I'm just here to listen. I'm also the chair of the Standing Committee on Public Safety for another 90 plus days until we go away.
Well, nothing goes away. We just grow into the next thing. So obviously there's a huge base of really dedicated public service.
Our specific functions.
Yeah. So, all right,
I'm
go.
so cool, I'm a dentist and I have a practice for like 2 minutes walking from here.
I'm Judy Grove. I'm chair of Precinct 15, which is right in the downtown below the train station.
Okay.
And I'm hearing a lot from new residents who want to commute into Boston about issues in that area.
It's actually huge, all right?
Drew Sen, town meeting member, vice chair, precinct 10, and some other standing committees, this and that, and a mayoral candidate.
It's excellent.
Carmen, co-owner of Famous Bakery.
Oh, great. Oh, yes, yeah, okay.
Sal Malone, I'm a business owner in downtown. I run a couple of businesses and I own several properties downtown.
Sylvia Ruiz, owner of Ruiz Transportation, and also president and company of Framingham.
I recognize you, but
Yvonne Spicer, candidate for mayor, vice chair of Precinct 6, Ways and Means Committee.
nice.
Cheryl Tully, chairman of the Framingham Board of Selectmen.
Awesome.
Ann Sullivan. I used to be in town meeting, but right now I'm working in several shelters, recovery shelters here in Framingham, one of which that are run by SMOC. So I'm really interested in the safety of the town for the women who I know who live in the shelters, and also the perceptions that the general public has of the women who are living in shelters, and also the relationship between SMOC and the town.
Brett Dale Randolph, 1854 Cycling.
Nancy Cooper, Resident Services, Peabody Properties. I work with Phil Verzani, he's the property manager. We manage Irving Square and Irving Street Apartments in downtown.
Oh, cool. Pleasure.
Yes, and I'm Phil Verzani, I'm the property manager. I've been, Peabody Properties took over management of Irving Square Apartments, which is on the corner of Hollis and Irving Street. We also do Irving Street as well. Nancy and I do an office out of Framingham Green Apartments over on the north side of the west.
Perfect. All right. Well, now everybody knows each other. Who wants to be the next person to speak? That'd be great.
Phil's gonna go.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Phil Verzani. I work for Peabody Properties. I'm the property manager, and I've been here for, I've been in the Boston area now for about 25 years. I've been working for Peabody for about 15. I used to work for SMOC, so I'm very familiar with their policies and procedures. One of the things that we took over management, and we now own, part owner of Irving Square Apartments, which is actually on the corner of Hollis and Irving Street. And my colleague Nancy Cooper here, and I, ever since, it's great. Framingham has done wonders in terms of the built up. It's beautiful, it's pretty, it's nice. I like the new traffic lights. We like what's going on, but one of the bigger issues that we're facing is, as a management company, is that we have a beautiful park that's on that corner. And
yes.
One of the issues that what we have found is when they put the new seats out, they're very nice, love to have them in the country, but they're really not appropriate for downtown Framingham because they're really bringing a lot of people that are not healthy individuals to sit in front of our park. And what happens is, like someone had mentioned about trash, I mean, it's great that, you know, I don't have a problem with someone having a cup of coffee, but you know, don't just drop it on the ground and have it blown into our park, and then our maintenance staff have to spend an extra hour a week cleaning up that mess. And then it's also very uncomfortable. I mean, granted, we've not had any kind of, we've had some kind of break-ins before, but it's gotten better over time. But it's very uncomfortable as a property manager, and also several of our residents have come to management saying, I just don't feel comfortable walking and having to look at these people, this population of people that like to accumulate in front of the park. And one of the things I would like to know is, and I think Nancy brought up a very good point, is why did they put the seats there in the first place? What's the purpose?
You know what, I'm going to tell you that this is urban design where they didn't communicate with the population where they're putting it in. This is a perfect example of somebody who went to school for architecture and then said, this is what we should do, without actually spending any time in the downtown area. Because there's two reasons that they cause problems as far as I can see, which is, number one, handicap accessibility, traffic flow. It's a busy downtown area, and quite frankly, right off the bat, when you built those, you restrict the amount of free sidewalk area that you could either be devoting to a business to put cafe tables out, or you're creating a situation where people are loitering and not purchasing product, or, you know, basically meeting somebody and hanging out. And, you know, quite frankly, without putting too fine a point on it, it's not always the best situation down there. And people walking down there with families, and it'd be nice to have a clear sidewalk to go to your business, cross the street, park your car, and go about and do what it is. And I think that although it may look really nice, I don't think it was the most well thought out situation. And I don't think that's an unfair thing to say.
It's completely fair. I'm chairman of the board of selectmen. I agree with you 100%.
Okay, I don't, and you know, as a designer, I'm like, wow, you didn't talk to anybody. Like nobody, if you don't like chocolate ice cream and someone buys you, you know, a gallon of it, it's like, oh, thank you for the ice cream, but that's not what I wanted. And I don't believe that communication happened. And so you're seeing some ramification of it. Okay, do you have any suggestions, or do you have any follow through for what you think? Or what solutions would you like to see provided?
Well, I mean, coming back to one of the big issues is in affordable housing, which is covered, which we need, which is great to have. But I mean, one of the goals, one of the points of being in affordable housing is there's a drug. I mean, if you're a current resident in our development, HUD regulation supersedes state regulations when it comes to drug abuse, and it's not healthy for our residents who are living in affordable housing to look and observe people doing illegal transactions outside the park. It just brings in, it just causes a lot of rift, and it's not safe. I mean, it's not a safe thing. Where, yeah, I can be the gallant of society and go to them and say, please move. But you know, I don't know these people, and I don't know what kinds of things are there in their pocket or what they'll pull out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And especially now with modern technology and with the internet and everything, you get on camera and all of a sudden it's across Facebook and the whole 9 yards.
Right.
Which is not a good representation of me as a manager, because I represent the company. That's not the goal that I'm having. It's very uncomfortable.
So your hands are tied because it's actually not your responsibility, and then you have liability even if you do interact. And so that's two reasons you can't actually personally do anything about it. So, Courtney, what's the escalation for? Obviously make a call.
Right. Do you have the security cameras out there?
We do. We have our security cameras are really geared around we've added security cameras around the building, and also we've added one in our parking lot of theft and what's going on. We don't really have a camera that hits the park because there's really, our residents use it. It's private, it's gated, so the only way to get into the park is if the gate opens, or if you come to our entrance and you go around.
Yeah. So. To speak to the cameras, so Ian Bank is working with us on security cameras for downtown, and I'm looking at getting one that I can move to different locations and potentially get a live stream of. So if you ever call the police, they say, you see something, say something. So if you call and you see something, they actually have to see it too. So there has to be, eyewitness from the police, and a lot of actions don't take that long and they're over with. So if the police go and they don't see it, then they will document it and they can potentially do some sort of summons later to the court. And then they have to show there was intent, and then they have to show thirdly that someone was annoyed or disturbed by that, which is usually the caller or nearby folks. So cameras can help with that, and I've also met with the DPW and the chief of police to do something to change the shape of the planters to some kind of like ethnically representative sculpture, like a Guatemalan sculpture in front of Nika's Bakery, etc. Those planters are extremely close to the road, and it's really not safe to be sitting there if you have car carriers going, back and forth as well.
Every week, one of them gets stuck on those.
Yeah. So those are some of the interventions I'm looking at right now. MassDOT owns that property until at least the end of the year, so we can't do any alterations to that until they hand it over to us. We're doing electrical work, but those little kids going by all day long, we've seen, and so we have to make this a vibrant area for children to be in.
So this gets back right to the security camera issue. Once again, we're going to make a recommendation to you for even something that's remote, that is battery powered, that quite frankly, you could set it up once and it's good for 2 weeks. It records at night with night shot, and you can take that evidence back and say, okay, here's what's going on. I have documentation of it, and it's just a helpful thing. It shows trends, it shows where hotspots can be, and that's just how you police. And if they're not there and they can't see it, they can't pretend. I mean, as much as they like you, they can't say that they have evidence, and that's what we have to do, is provide actual documentation. So if you're agreeable to it, we'd love to share that with you. And then
I have another issue that I've observed. On Irving Street, we have a gate, as I said, we have a gated park, and we have an entrance that goes in for our residents and staff. One of the things that drives me bonkers is that there's a sign on the gate that says no parking in front of it.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the thousands of cars that sit there, they pull over, they run across the street, even to the cafe, across the street. And I'm at the point where I called the police and I laid these cars towed. And I had one person, I literally went out there and I told him, I said, do you not know how to read a sign?
Yeah.
This is like I don't speak English. No, that's not to me, that's not an acceptable answer.
Can you put comments up or anything?
Well, no, I mean,
people go back and forth.
Yeah, because tenants have to get in. You know what I mean? It also brings into the fact that when I said to that, I don't speak English. I said, that's not an answer. I said, you're in the United States, you need to know the basics. You better move the car at your expense.
I think that, is he allowed to put a sticker or violation thing?
But we do that.
Yeah.
We do that. They don't listen.
Okay,
I know. Yeah, I mean.
Now, do you have private towing? Do you have a private towing situation there where if anybody's
the problem is we don't own the street. It's owned by the town, and the town owns it. And I suggested, Chris had mentioned a handicap space, because my residents would love to have a handicap space to park, but that's not a possibility. I mean, in the lighting also too, the third thing is the new lighting. It's so dark there now since they added the new lights. Don't get me wrong, they're beautiful lights, but it's dangerous that they're 8 o'clock at night, especially when daylight saving time hits.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a safe area to walk at night.
Lighting is something that a lot of people mention, and I agree with you completely.
So that's one thing I would like to find out if they can.
So lighting,
and we shouldn't, from a management's perspective, I don't think the owners of the city should have to buy new additional lighting or a spotlight. And the town really has the money to put more lighting or additional lighting in the area.
It's 6 and 1/2 a dozen the other, though. You have to understand, you can. I appreciate what your point is, right? But at the same time, they're going to turn around and say, well, we have to go budget, has to go to committee, has to blah blah blah. And so you're saying, okay, I'm going to make them take care of it, and then there's a delay in getting that done. You have to balance what you need with what the process is. But having said that, we're about solutions. We're trying to figure things out. So we're going back with there's parking, there's lawyering, the issues with the seats is a problem, and obviously the blocking of the area. So is that fair? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Would you like to add to that?
Those are all of our concerns.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. And once again, we're helping. We're trying to figure this out. We're trying to put together a list. Who's next?
Judy.
Yeah.
Where should I begin? Let's see. I've lived in the downtown area for 35 years. 35 years ago, we thought it would come back because we believe in using trains. My husband teaches at the college. He walked 3 miles to the college. It didn't change. It got worse. Finally, it is changing. And And what I'm seeing is gentrification. People are buying the old houses, they're fixing them up, but they're complaining to me. They get off the train, and at the corner of Cedar Street, a main route, when you're leaving the train to go to the Precinct 15 area, there's a market, and there are cars parked crossing the sidewalk always. There is no marking for the sidewalk, so it's hard to tell where it is, but there's a dumpster. And not only do they block the sidewalk, they block behind the dumpster, which is practically on the sidewalk, and they go many feet into the street. So you cross from the train, and then you have to cross to the other side, because you can't ever, I have never been able to walk there without a car blocking it. I've taken many pictures, we've sent them to the police department. This has been years of complaining about it, nothing's being done about it. It's as though the market has, I don't know, the right to do whatever they want. So the gentrification is happening, but what the people are now telling me is those neighborhoods are now cut-throughs, because the downtown is so difficult. Getting through is difficult. They're using small streets, and on one street, 2 dogs were killed within a month of each other. They were speeding on the street, and one of them, a police officer, had one of the dogs. He doesn't even believe that it can be solved. So that's what we're seeing. People speeding up Cedar Street as a cut through from Hollis.
Well, as a resident of Cedar Street, I will verify that these guys like to do about 80 miles an hour. I'm not even kidding you. They could rip their motorcycles up and down the street. They just paved them, and when they paved it, they made it that much nicer to go really, really fast. So the enforcement's obviously an issue, and you know, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour on those streets, and there's no speed limit signs. So putting marked speed limit signs on there, and then I've seen in other neighborhoods where they put the radar enforcement signs on there, and they can get data on how many people are actually speeding and then actually do something about it. So absolutely, that's a problem.
There are people who have actually taken their own pictures, taken films, brought it to meetings. There's a traffic and roadway safety committee, and that seems to be the main person to go to. I discovered that Mary Dennison Park, it was shocking. You come around the corner, there's the park. There's no speed limits. There's no signs that say children playing, no crosswalks, no lights. And the parking lot is right next to the tot lot. So after several years of complaining, traffic and roadway safety, now there are lights. I think about Dudley Road and how many beautiful yellow flashing cross signs are. Why would a park with 1,800 children have had to have a resident? Why isn't our community looking at all our playgrounds and being fair to each one of them, giving them the same quality? So they've done it. But when I went across it, there's a huge puddle of water at the bottom of it. It isn't draining properly. So the only crosswalk there to the little market where the kids all want to go is full of water. So if you're going to do it right.
This is part of why, let's be honest guys, the reason this is a city now instead of a town is because this is how it's been going in Framingham for as far as everybody knows here. It's like, you say you want to do something, it's you know, little pockets of power here and there, and nothing gets done. Making a mayor or somebody accountable, having an agenda, this is a brand new chance to go back and try to address these things and find somebody who cares about it. There's no question that on the north side, they get a lot of the things that they need, and on the south side, we sort of get served second. No question about it. And there are a lot of little things like parking and safety and lighting that just have to happen because, as I said, if you don't take care of these little things, the big things happen. So it's not a little thing that they park wrong. It's not a little thing that there's trash. It's not a little thing that there's loitering. It's not a little thing that there's not accessibility on the sidewalk. Those are all things that will eventually, you take 2 or 3 of these and then now you have a car accident. Now you have, you know, somebody, you know, so you're being listened to, we're writing this down, and this is all part of what the next level of, the next part of the growth of this town is going to be, and our former FDR, whatever, is about grabbing the community together, getting everybody together, figuring out what this is, and all of us saying this is what we want to do. Because, you know, your precinct can say something and somebody else says something else, and they've got friends here, and that's why nothing ever happened in this town, right?
Well, and
Am I
one
wrong?
of the big issues is when I tried to get people to come, the answer was we came before and nothing changed. We were town meeting and nobody listened to us.
That has to stop too. I'll tell you what, I don't care how many times you talked about things and how many times you did things before, none of it matters. It's like it's game over. We're starting in January with a brand new administration. Let's talk about it and let's go forward like we never had a conversation yet. And the people that are going to talk about it, the people who are going to get results about it. People who want to say, I'm tired of this, I'm not investing it. Well, guess what? You're going to get what you get for not talking.
We have the traffic thing. I've actually heard some solutions. I'm very concerned about the apartments coming in, the wood apartments. They're taking the parking. Are they taking the parking behind some of these buildings? What is the plan to replace the parking that's leaving us? Where are people going to park? They're taking the corner lot and they're taking behind the Vietnamese restaurant for that building. What about the parking? Where's it going to go? And as a Southside resident, I stood at town meeting wanting to speak on that project, and I was never called on to speak on that.
So I guess our biggest issue right now is a lot of people standing in front of the store, and it's really decreased on the sales of the store. It's really had brought business down. We have people that call and they even ask me, can you bring the bread, across the street? Because there's a lot of people drinking and smoking right in front of your store. Sometimes they call and ask if we're open because they're right there blocking the entrance. And as many times as we go and tell them, can you please move and just make room for the customers to come in, people, they just don't want to come in to buy anything.
Totally understandable.
So they're in the doorway actually, or like inside. So they're on the sidewalk, but like in the doorway area?
Just something, outside, like, they have like that little bench slash planter.
Well, it doesn't need to be that, like you said, intimacy, the word intimacy means activity within 3 feet of you. All right, that's an important thing for you to understand. If somebody walks within 3 feet of you, they're now being intimate with you. When you're walking on the sidewalk, that's what makes it a stressful situation. Now when you've got a bench and you got 8 guys and some people are, honestly smoking pot like right out in public and they're passing around in front of everybody, and you're walking with your kid, it's like, that is like not an environment I want to be intimate in. So that's a problem. That's a really big problem. So you're making a great point and it's hurting your business. Yes.
So the Board of Health, they put out a regulation like you can't smoke. I think it's 15 feet within an entrance. But if it's a public sidewalk, that's a completely different dynamic. And so we need to see, like, with the Board of Health, like, how does that, I think you're allowed to smoke if you're walking, transiting the area, but you can't be loitering and smoking, which is an issue when the smoke is coming in your business there in the corner.
It's also illegal. So
that's the biggest issue. And same thing, people trashing out the planters. I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Everybody gets the planters. I wish I could just.
They took away 2 parking spots that were right in front of the bakery to make room for the seats, the benches. I don't know what to call them. And now, people are always looking for parking spots.
What is your experience in reporting these issues?
The experience?
Like when you call it in or you see it, like what happens?
Oh, I have called the police a couple of times, but since it's outside, it's in a public place, there's not much they can do about it unless they are fighting or there's some illegal things going on. But other than that, there's nothing they
So
can do.
it needs to be, it's a problem. It's hurting your business.
Exactly.
You're paying rent, you've got a landlord, you're trying to provide for your family. We're trying to make a downtown an accessible place. These aren't issues that make successful downtowns other places. You don't have, it has to be addressed, and we hear you.
Yeah, and there's, if people from other towns, other cities drive by here and they see that, of course it's not going to make them want to come over and do any kind of business here.
Yeah,
I mean, our restaurant, the bakery, anything could be like the best that they have ever had, but because of that, they're never going to come back.
Framingham has amazing food. It really does. And it's actually a great saving point, and more people need to come and visit, but they're not going to come and visit if there's no place to park and they feel worried or threatened when they're in the parking lot.
Exactly.
Cool. Anything else? No? Okay, cool. Great. Who's next?
Don't mind if I say, because I have a bad name. Is that all right?
No, let's go now. Come on. Yeah.
All right. My name is Sal Malone. I came to Framingham probably almost 26 years ago. I came here to start my business. I'm going to give two perspectives as a resident of Framingham and also as a business owner. I used to live on the south side. About 5-6 years ago, I made a decision to move out from the south side. I was dealing with too many things. I have 3 children from 2, 5, and 8-year-old. I was having people come into the backyard. I was picking up syringes. It was just one thing after another. I just got sick of it. I just moved. Thank God I was in a position that I was able to move. I get the financing and make that move, right? So I'm not going to focus on that part because that issue's been addressed as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to focus on the business side.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here tonight. Over the course of 25 plus years, I have invested in Framingham, both commercial and residential properties, which I still own. I have 2 businesses in Framingham. One is a restaurant and one is a landscape business where we supply a lot of towns, municipalities. We supply landscape products, lawnmower, snowblowers. We service Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's. We do all the warranty repairs for pretty much anything that has a small engine. So I have an established business that is in Framingham. I also have an office in Canada, Montreal, and also Toronto. That is my core business that allows me to do different things as far as investing in property and so forth, okay? As far as downtown is concerned, I do believe in downtown. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in downtown. There are some issues that, to me, are not going away. It's issues that have been discussed. I'll give you a specific one. About 4 or 5 years ago, don't quote me exactly, we were closing up the restaurant, and I was about to walk to my car, and actually I was inside, and I heard shots, and they sounded like gunshots. Okay, so sure enough, I go outside, and I saw a police officer. I flagged him down, and I said to the officer, I think we just heard shots. And as I was talking to him, sure enough, I saw a shell. Okay. Well, another cruiser came, and police, they were great. But to make a long story short, I don't know how many shells they picked up that night. The next day, I met with Holly. I think it was, don't quote me on this, but I think it was Officer Ed Burnham, or I don't remember exactly who it was, okay? My memory's not that good, but I'm sure if we go back in the log records, we'll find it, okay? Yeah. But in any event, I was told that the shots could have been avoided if there was lighting.
Yeah.
Which to me, there's no correlation to gunshots and lighting, but that's my perspective. So in any event, I asked them, well, can we get lighting? And we talked about lighting, and I was told, listen, downtown, and they got plans to do this and this and this, and we have to change infrastructure, we're gonna bring new cables in. And that was told 4 or 5 years ago. We're in 2017, and up until last year, I've had conversations with, and again, yeah. It seems like people are nice, but nothing gets done. Yeah. So Eric Johnson, real nice guy. I reached out to him in an email, and I said, listen, they cut my sidewalks. I see 2 lines, they've cut them, but I haven't seen any activity. This happened last year when all this stuff was going on as far as work. Right. Are they going to put these lights? And the answer was, it's not in the plan. I said, well, it's not in the plan. Why did they cut the sidewalk? I got these 2 lines they cut right across. It looks like they're going to rip them. So anyways, to make a long story short, I have no lighting. And that has not been addressed to me. So if you come downtown, it's dark and it's dangerous. You can't see around the corner. I've got so many people that want to come downtown, but they don't feel safe. Specifically around where my restaurant is, people won't go there. As far as what Carmen was talking about, she's right around the corner from me. All those benches they put, I used to have a lot of homeless people, and I know most of them because over time, over 20 plus years. Hey Sal, can you help me out? Yeah, it's $20. That's Sal, you got some extra work. So I know almost half of those guys personally, and all those guys they used to loiter and sleep. Now they sleep on her side of town. Because the benches are there. It's convenient. Yeah. So I'll be honest with you. I don't see that anymore. And I feel for these people. Like if they're on the street, it doesn't help our town. It does not help society. So we need to find a way to help these people because some of these people have issues. That's why they're there. They're not bad people. So how do we help the people? And being on the street doesn't help them. It doesn't help some woman with their 5-year-old child that wants to walk downtown. They ain't going to do it. They're not going to come downtown. So that problem, to me, I don't have a solution, I just don't think it's being addressed.
Well, somebody, there, and it's important because I know that the elephant in the room is what do you say about people who are less fortunate than you that are creating an impact in your life. The truth of the matter is everybody deserves to be taken care of, but that needs to be taken care of. Laying out in the street is not being taken care of. That's a responsibility that needs to be met because that's not making it better for them. And when things aren't better for them, it's the weakest link in the chain, then it becomes a problem for other people. And I've watched, as a resident of this town, for 20, almost 30 years here, I know all about it. So you watch somebody start to fall down and then they go all the way down and now they're a problem. Now they're breaking into cars, now things are happening. The key is they need the help and they need to be taken care of. Which means if you say that you're going to take care of somebody and you don't, that's a responsibility you need to bear as well. So people who are providing care need to be responsible for the care they're providing because what happens is they call the cops. The cops are not babysitters, they're not garbage men. It's not their job to know every single person's issue there. That's where these misunderstandings happen. We're putting a huge burden on people that aren't technically trained to do it. And quite frankly, these people didn't just show up to come be downtown because they thought it was awesome. There are circumstances that need to be adjusted in this. So they need the help they deserve, and businesses need to be able to provide for their own families and their own community, and they should, if you're a property owner, your rent should go up, your property value should go up. That's how it works, and we want to see that happen. So
yeah, one thing as a nonprofit that we've been looking into is getting grant money to have outreach services. Because we do have places that provide services, but as far as the outreach onto the street, that's something that we can enhance and work more on. And so I would, love to take that on and try to get some funding so that we can, have that and be able to show the metrics of the improvements and all of that you would all love to see that, something is getting done and we're not just, yapping our gums for no reason. So.
And not to dwell on this subject, there's some other things I'd like to touch upon. I feel very comfortable walking downtown. I'll walk downtown and I'll talk to these guys personally. I know most of them. I have no problem with that. But again, let's look at her business, or even there's a package store behind Raj. I think he's coming. He might be a little late, but people don't want to go into they won't enter the place because you've got 8 guys, 10 guys just there. So I feel for her because at the end of the day, the more successful businesses we have downtown, we benefit. I don't just run a business, I own property downtown.
Not only do you benefit, but the entire town benefits. Everything benefits by making it better. So this is the thing, you guys are saying awesome stuff. This is but you got to break the ground to build a garden, guys. You got to get in there and do it. Right.
What's your agenda? It's pretty straightforward. I have businesses, I want the business to do good. And I have property I want to appreciate. That's my agenda.
Sure.
I've invested 25 plus years in this town. I want to see things get better, right?
All the growth that's going to happen in this town is going to happen on the south side.
Right.
On the north side, it's just property. And property escalates at a very managed rate, and you know exactly what it's going to be. But you're not going to suddenly have more property available on the north side. We're not going to annex another Marlboro or something and make Framingham bigger. All the growth is going to happen south on 135 here.
The other thing I like to talk about is just basic parking signage. Just wherever we have public parking, there's no, every town I go to, every city, I don't care if it's Natick, Ashland, Wellesley, Hopkins, a lot of these towns all have signage. It's got a big P with an arrow.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's not a lot of money to
It is the bane of our existence that they never made this clear. You go to any metropolitan area and you have walkable downtowns and you have great parking and you have excellent public transportation. We've got some public transportation now. Right. We're really lacking on the parking and the signage is
But as a business owner, I'm just trying to survive, right? We're trying to, every day you're dealing with employees and customers. Who's in charge of taking care of the signage? Like, who takes care of it?
This is exactly, we are going to have, this is like, all this has been, this is the frustration of Framingham. I used to be an orderly at St. Patrick's Manor. You guys know where that is? Okay. I dealt with the Illuminati of the old Framingham. These guys, I remember a guy telling me, he was 92 years old, saying, if it ever becomes a city, it'll be the end of this, it'll destroy what makes Framingham beautiful. And ironically, it's what's been holding us back. It's been so now we have to move forward. So those are all excellent. So lighting, parking,
and the one thing I brought up the last at the current FDR meeting was just garbage bins.
Garbage.
I remember one time, I don't know what meeting I was in. I was at a meeting, I'm sure it was, But all the posts that we have, all those light posts,
Yeah.
are designed, they make them, they're clamps, they go around the posts, and you have these little bins, and you put trash in them. Every town has them. And the posts we have are standard posts. A lot of municipalities, like, you know, you go to Wellesley, they got the same posts, but they got the garbage bag. So what happened? Did we like just decide not to put the garbage
You know,
on?
it's amazing. You go to Paris, right, and they have these, the trucks come by, people put their trash in, and at night, a truck comes by, lifts it up, takes it around the truck, puts a new one right down.
But what does
There's
that
no
say about
reason.
our town?
I agree with you.
That's what it
It's
says.
something that needs to be addressed. But the problem is, we've created this maze of interaction that makes it impossible to get anything done.
Right.
And we have to visit the triage. I was telling you, identify the problems. Right? What's more important? And then triage it. What has to be done right now? What affects this? What, you know, and then let the other things go. Because what happened is, it's been turned around. Things that didn't need to get taken care of, like putting some amazing trails in Cushing Park. Thank God, I love it. It's beautiful. But did that need to get done before some of the other things that need to get done? And that's the way the grants came. And people want the dough. We understand that, but we have to present it in order and then attack it.
To give an idea of where.
Right.
Strategic plan.
Yeah, exactly.
To give an idea of where, you know, some people that don't know where my restaurant is located. If you came down 126 and you turned on 135, it is the next building beside the Bullard building. It's a red brick building. If you pass South Street, you went too far. If you passed the old Chicken Bone, you went too far. Just recently, they repaved all the roads. I reached out to the departments that took care of that. I said, we've had double line parking on both sides of that road on 135 for years.
Yeah.
You guys repaved and you took away all the lines, but you put a bicycle run. But now I have no parking. So we went from at least being able to have our customers park like just up the street. You can either park on this side of the Chicken Bone or that side of the Chicken Bone. But all that parking's gone. And I was told it is what it is. That's what I was told.
Once again, I don't know.
And here's the problem with that. Where is the communication with the business owners? I'm just one of them.
Yeah, Irving Square is really tough with, and there needs to be like shared, there's a lot of parking spots that are just, you know, dispersed throughout, and some of them are actually roped off, you know? And so there needs to be like a high level, like shared parking plan.
Yeah, one week I got, with 1 week specifically, I got 2 parking tickets, and I'm like, you know, I abide to the odd evening, like what? So I reached out, you were 20 feet from the intersection. Yeah, but I was parked on the right side.
Yeah.
You want to talk? Because I know you came in.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Irving. I'm the manager of a printing store, 155 Hollis Street. We have actually a big problem with the business of these big number of owners.
Yeah. Okay.
I know maybe you guys will talk about this before, but I just want to show my interest with you against this problem. Actually, every day from the morning to the evening, I have to talk to them. I will talk. Some of them leave, others they can.
Yep.
When we talk, we said, please guys, it's about business. You are affecting our business. We can go back this. People they can trust here. Some old ladies, they scared to pass from there. We have some expensive phones for some $700, $750. People they scared. Even small kids. They said okay, they knew, and some of them they talk, they discuss with us. They said no, this is a public place. We said yes, this is a public place, but you are not dealing normal. You are not acting normal. When you drink, when you get drugs, you become abnormal. So you can't stay here in front of this store. We are owners or managers on these businesses, so we pay rents. We have lots of trucks. We have employees. We have tax. So we need to wait. And some of them they said this is not our problem. We should call the police. Only the police can move us from here. We call the police from them.
Once
the police
again,
they come. Always they talk to them. They go, and after they come back. For example, last Saturday I have around 20 of them by the door of my store. We try to push them left and right. They go and they come back.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's loitering, and and then honestly, there needs to be a defined issue. Come on through, how you doing? There needs to be a defined issue that they're in violation of. That has to be the thing, and that needs to be what a city does. It says, okay, here's the ordinance for how we do it in downtown. In historic Irving Square, you can't just take a nap on the planters, nice as it may seem. That's not actually the activity, because it's not that we're trying to infringe anybody's rights. It's a safety issue. We're talking about trucks, and it's one of the busiest intersections in the state. It's actually one of the most dangerous intersections in the state. It just can't be like that. So there are solutions for these things. I absolutely hear you. We know it's the top of the list right now of the problems that we need to deal with. Before, listen, they're asking for us to move as quickly as we can. I would like for anybody to speak who would like to either expand on an issue or add something. Yes, go ahead.
I want to add something. One of the things that I've tried to do since I've been on the Board of Selectmen is to ban nip bottles.
I agree with that.
And the problem is that under the ABCC rules, the only way to do that is to do it town-wide. And so I surveyed some folks, and I've had people come in to us, and I've asked them, well, are you going to get, when they're looking for licenses, are you going to be selling it? Oh, we're not going to sell it penny, we're going to do this penny. And, I see what's on the street, you're selling a lot more than they told us. But I go and talk to somebody like Super Licks up at Framingham Center, who makes a couple of $1,000s a month during football season with people stuck in cargo pants to go to the Patriots, which means for us trying to help down here, we're going to hurt their business.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And we're stuck with this dichotomy. And one of the things I'm looking at least on the litter, there is state legislation that we're pushing, and we've signed on and are pushing with our legislators to put the nickel deposits on nip bottles so that people will start picking them up themselves. At least we'll get rid of the litter.
That's a great idea.
I mean,
that's a great idea.
I get rid of the nip bottle, they're still going to be swiping their money. But at least we're trying to do something, but it's really tough, and I know how frustrating you are, and I know where your place is, I've been in your place several times. I've been in a lot of your places, and the bench thing really got to me. It was a done deal before I heard about it, and it was like, and it makes no sense.
For urban planning.
And that's something I think that we, in short term,
Okay, we got that. Let's add something else because, like I said, they're pushing on us to go. Anybody else with some benches? And obviously, that's a nip thing. Is a great.
In the soil that like sticks out.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I just want to say one thing, and particularly, and you hit it on the nail, Sal. What we're talking about is humanity, and people with issues, that we need to hopefully help beforehand, because the problem is not going to push them to one corner to the next corner. It's really how do you handle the issue.
Right.
And I see many productive things for these folks to do during the course of the day that doesn't include anything. I'm a kid from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I know what struggle looks like. And so part of that is that when people feel like they have something productive to do in their life and something to offer, and that's part of my thought process. How do you create more opportunities for jobs for folks that are struggling?
Some of the people have given up. Like, when they've given up, they see there's no more water in the glass. So how do you
Smock had a drop-in center over at the Salvation Army at one point.
Yeah.
Which, I'll tell you, from a humanitarian standpoint, during the winter time, it was great. But also really did help because people weren't hanging out in front of stores, during the summer, they were hanging there. There are treatment-resistant individuals or people with mental health issues that aren't getting the help. And that's when we need to start partnering with local organizations.
Here's the other issue. If you deal with addiction, you deal with these issues. It's one person not getting the help is danger to 50 people who are getting the help. Okay? And that's why it has to be addressed.
And the one thing is that the police, they're good, they're great. When you call them, they're there, they take care of it. But this is a legislative issue.
Right.
They're service. So when there's a problem, they're there. If I call them, they're there. If there's a problem. So that to me, it's not like there's only so much. If they make you an arrest and these guys are back out, we
already said it. It's not the cop's job. It's not the cop's job. There are other issues. There's other issues, and it's unfair to them. It's unfair. We want, but at the same time, if you've got an issue, you should be able to call them and make it happen. But there should be able to. So if we can, anybody who feel like something important they need to say because they're asking, I know we're leaving.